The Democrats cry out as they accuse all ICE agents, Trump and his administration, or for that matter anyone east of California and west of Massachusetts, of being a threat to kids. Like a revolving door, they move from fascism to racism to sexism after realizing the previous, mostly untrue ism didn't change anything, so they'll need to accuse people of being a different, mostly untrue ism, which will of course accomplish nothing positive either, and now it's seemingly time for the protect kids ability to come off of cooldown. See, this methodology of Democrats, it's like being forced to go to your aunt's birthday party where she makes you a massive plate of food that you really don't want to eat, but there's no opportunity to sneak away and trash it. Now, I'm not condemning people for their fetishes, regardless of what they are, but forcing your feeder fetish on me is super uncool. I'm completely stuffed. I'm about to pop. I've got to move in a very specific way so as to not projectile vomit all over grandma. I don't have any more room for your accusation jello. I want the damn truth. I'm sick of propaganda. I'm sick of confirmation bias and lies. I'm not saying it's Democrats exclusively. Both sides leap while still sitting at the chance to discredit the other with slander and libel. I'm not saying ICE is flawless either. Every organization ever has a varying degree of bad intel, incompetence, and corruption. What I'm saying is that the Democrats have mastered the art of falling flat on their face, standing up, and telling you that it's actually your nose that's bleeding because you're a racist. I don't know where they get this level of foot-mouth neuro-coordination. I mean, they aren't even the party that's mainlining a cocktail of religions which all conflict with each other. And I'm only just talking about Christianity. I mean, there's like 50 different versions of it. But then again, if you consider modern democracy as a religion, well, look, I'm not blaming people who scrutinize ICE. You should absolutely scrutinize every three-letter agency just as thoroughly as they do you. But you should also scrutinize the words of your comrades in echo chambers, telling you the actual truth that only they know, telling you whom you should actually be aggressive towards. Those comrades of yours, the ones who encourage making lists of ICE agents' identities and home addresses, the ones who threaten to hunt down and persecute ICE after AOC takes her rightful place as queen in 2028, isn't one of their primary and most ridiculous arguments that ICE is evil for wearing masks? And tell me, how many Redditors can you identify in a lineup? I thought so. Now, if you're not operating heavy machinery or performing surgery, please direct your attention to the television, or phone, or whatever, for just a moment. On Reddit, with 66,000 upvotes for this one of many threads that this post has been the kindling of, you can see a girl being air quotes slammed into the ground. You can see that all 792 bones in her body disintegrate into bone dust after she was powerbombed from high orbit by what can only be described as the reincarnation of Adolf himself, who then pulverizes the poor thing's neck by kneeling on it. Oh, wait. No, you don't. What you see is a human who is big enough and perfectly capable of wielding a deadly weapon, screaming bloody murder as the person arresting her is shouting at her to get on the ground. As she refuses to do so, he relatively lightly takes her down and then kneels on her shoulder whilst zip tying or handcuffing her. The context here isn't the why. It's the lie. Maybe she is an American citizen who is 15 years old and is falsely persecuted by some power-mad white supremacist. Oh. Well, maybe he's still racist, or maybe not. But what definitely didn't happen was someone getting slammed into the ground, even by a stretching of the word. This happening, needless to say, instantly became a go-to jerking point for Democrats who are acting as if a 15-year-old is a baby incapable of harm. It's truly fascinating to me how tens, if not hundreds of millions of Democrats in the USA can see these blatant lies and go along with them, all while accusing other people of not rebelling hard enough and demanding them to stage an insurrection and commence a civil war. It's almost as if the people, who are definitely not bots, saying these things don't live in the country, almost as like they want it to happen. How curious. Either they're imbeciles who don't realize the amount of civilian damage even a minor interruption to commercial infrastructure and the like would cause, which they've already had a taste of from COVID, and the resulting cascade of problems, mental, medical, legal, like all of these things besides commercial, they would pile up. Or they realize exactly what would happen in actuality, Much like during BLM when some comrades thought defunding the police was a good idea. I mean, you really think that would have went well? See, being a Democrat doesn't make you a Democrat. So who's actually agreeing with these people? Are they USA citizens? Are they even humans? I know there's some foreigners spreading dissent in the USA through social media, and to be fair, the USA probably started it. We usually do, but I mean to say there's definitely some warm bodies acting like lizard people, and there's definitely some bots out there spreading dissent. Anyway, I have one other example I'd like to mention. There's loads, but I don't like pointing out the obvious or editing videos. Not long ago, ICE raided an apartment complex in the South Shore of Chicago, arresting 37 people. Yes, the shock and awe campaign in the middle of the night was probably overkill, but at the same time, the civilians, like myself, don't have all the detail. Oh, sorry, I guess some of the civilians know why. It's because they're brown and speak Spanish, according to country singer Brian Andrews, who chose to use half formed blanket accusations to verbally attack the dominant religion of the country as a country singer. Democrats have been demonizing Christians for some time, and just like with every other accusation, it's an all or nothing deal they offer. You either submit entirely to the Democrats or you die. Except they love to piggyback on the good deeds of what they call real Christians, all while they spin their tires and sling mud on all Christians by calling them cultists, fascists, and racists. Republicans, yes, they can be just as bad at times, but right now I think most of them are acting in self defense, and I'm pretty sure not all of the Christians are white supremacist racists. Speaking of which, I am sure that all of the Christians who aren't white supremacist racists will definitely side with you rather than resent you for plastering that blanket accusation on all of them. No need to update me on your career, Mr. Andrews. I'm sure I'll smell the smoke eventually, and the fire will probably be started by a Democrat purity testing you over something you said 14 years ago. Or perhaps your physical features. They're doing that now, too. Well, for us mortals who require proof, we can only trust what we're told. And what we're told is that some of them were believed to be involved in drug trafficking and distribution, weapons crimes, and immigration violators, and therefore they might be dangerous, and thusly every precaution would, of course, be taken. There will still be some deep-fried Dems claiming them innocent because no crime happens anymore unless it's by Republicans, but this is what we've got to work with. See, even very dangerous people have families. They live with those families, and not all of them are as considered as Hitler was when he offed his family and himself before the Reds came knocking. So what can you do then? Send a politely worded letter asking people to turn themselves in? I won't dignify that with an inspection. Never, never arrest them because you'll allegedly traumatize the kids who watch and play violent and sexual games, arts, and influencers all day? Well, that's not an option either. Send in Superman? I'm afraid he doesn't exist. We're stuck with mortals, and mortals can, as the word suggests, die. Even the local news shows kids stealing cars, breaking into homes, and murdering people on a relatively common basis with consideration to the fact that it's a population of several hundred million. The point is that kids are dangerous. I'm a grown man and I'm shorter than many kids. Even an unarmed child can be a threat, especially a particularly large one, in either sense of the word. But who said they would be unarmed in their own house? They have knives, bats, clubs, guns. How many times have you looked at the news, even the local news if you're from the States, and seen a story about kids shooting each other? It's a weekly occurrence here in Georgia, and I'm not even counting the accidents. I'm talking spats over video game consoles, envy over Christmas presents, and lust over McDonald's sauce packets leading kids to killing one another. I mean, it's often fratricidal as well, which is just putting a point on how stupid and violent people can be. I don't typically keep examples of this. I have seen a couple recently, but all the same, you know of what I speak. So, considering that it's a variable term regarding maturity and size, I proclaim that kids is a term stretched for political convenience, such as the nothing burger story of the 7-year-old girl in the South Shore raid who was not zip tied. People keep talking about the 7-year-old girl, nothing even happened with her. She's just there for pity points. Even more of an exaggeration considering the term is deadly weapons, allowing even a baby, if accidentally, the capacity to instantly kill John Wick. So, how could you ignore the necessity of zip tying everyone, even kids, during the raid? They are a mortally dangerous variable in a fast paced, hostile, high tension scenario. A child makes the snap decision to attack an agent, boom, dead agent, now the child's a murderer. Though I suppose that would have the Democrats cheering, knowing they can make that kid their political messiah, but consider that it's not just ICE agents who would be in danger. Zip tying the child protects the child from themselves, along with their family and anyone else who may be within range of the potential guns. Restraining the kids prevents them from grabbing a gun and accidentally acing their little brother, or maybe the bullet goes through the wall and gut shots the pregnant woman. Actually, no, the Democrats would love both of those things. But, well, the point was that you have to consider all the options. Just the other day, I saw in my own local news a story about a woman, Erica Anderson. She was visiting her 3 children and husband in Indiana. Afterwards, she came back to where she was staying as a professor for Columbus State University's Department of Theater and Dance. Her roommate gunned her down. The dramatic twist? No, no, not adultery or a fight about cleaning the dishes or a winning lottery ticket or anything like that. Her roommate had been receiving violent threats from her own son, so when the roommate pulled that trigger, she did so thinking she was going to kill her own kid. But it happened to be a roommate, Erica. It gets worse. Erica's husband has cancer. I mean, that's some knives out level of wacky. Now, imagine the kind of incident that could occur during a large scale weaponized raid by a governmental division if they approach the scenario with caution in the wind. A kid becoming a murderer, an agent misidentifying a threat, one of the aliens with an itchy trigger finger, someone taking a kid hostage, an overspun druggie in the wrong place at the wrong time whose fate it is to make a bad day for everyone around them. Yes, yes, yes. Kids running around screaming is certainly a risk worth taking. I mean, the alternative is zip tying the children for a little while. Oh, the horror. The horror. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know what you want to say. How can you talk about this when there's a genocide happening? Democrats stepping on their own AP minds again. You can't care about everyone and everything. It's impossible. You can certainly pretend to, but the people who have nothing to gain by siding with you aren't blinded by your virtue signaling. Its luminosity is comparable to a comically undersized cigarette lighter, and the more you say they're emotionless, the more they'll act emotionless towards those who treat them as monsters, aka you. Do you ever stop and wonder how other people think about things? I do, especially with propaganda these days. It's through social media, made by us. And the government, they're trying to introduce censorship, mostly to censor our propaganda so that they can once again push their propaganda. I mean, here we have Homeland Security. Like, the Homeland Security. The .gov Homeland Security. Debunking Governor Pritzker's harmful lies about Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago. And it's presented kind of just like social media. I mean, this is like some influencer having a crash out on Twitter or something, right? Like, this is a Twitlonger. This is the Google Doc. Like, but does the government need to do that? Why should they need to do that? Are they telling the truth? Is Pritzker telling the truth? I have no idea. I mean, some things you can prove, like if someone posted this, which I do believe that someone out there posted this video, which is apparently from a TikTok, but it's represented as being an ICE agent arresting a 3-year-old or something in the middle of the street. I mean, especially with AI these days, and dumb people believing AIs, it's silly to me that this even needs to be an article that actually exists on on the DHS.gov, and yet it is. But then I kind of cross-reference that with articles by major media places, and I'm not going to say this is like CNN or Fox or anything, but it's just the first article that came up when I Googled it. And it says it's an unlivable condition at the Chicago apartment long before the jarring raid. Swarms of gnats, feces smeared on walls, broken elevators, busted locks, squatters, druggies, prostitution. They talk about all the sorts of things. Cassandra Murray, 55-year-old person here who lived in these apartments for over a decade, talks about the history of squalor and how they're moving out, but it has nothing to do with the ICE raid, and how it's been this way even before the Venezuelans, for that matter. And they go on to talk about the investors and the city of Chicago suing their company because of all the health code violations that these places had long before the ICE raid. And it's quite a large article if you want to read it. It talks about murders and stuff happening, but there's the authors, I suppose. It's just a nice light shined somewhere in the middle between what is potentially government propaganda. I mean, it's either the DHS's propaganda or Governor Pritzker's propaganda. Like, they can't both be telling the truth, at least not entirely. And then And then you have Reddit, which is like the polar opposite. I mean, you go to Reddit and what do you see? Well, you see, the truth is it was just to terrorize Chicago residents. Well, the truth is it was to incite violent resistance or general protest. Well, the truth is it was to play to the MAGA voter base, I guess. The truth is it was to groom general public to accept the coming police state. Only you know the truth, Mr. Redditor, or Mrs. Redditor. Only Reddit knows the truth. They'll just say, well, most of them, anyway. Not all of them. There are good Redditors, but most of them, like this. It wasn't military style, it was a military raid. We are being attacked in a civil war that is yet to be declared. No, it wasn't. And you weren't attacked. It just got declared. I mean, like, it's hyperbole to a degree that it is creating insurrection, which seems to me like a crime. Like, there's such a thing as exaggeration, there's such a thing as being wrong, and there's such a thing as deliberately causing such ideologies intentionally with the explicit purpose of fueling anger and rage and outrage. And I think for most places on Reddit and stuff, that's what you see. And this is why censorship is coming. It's not just because the government can't control people. It's because humans are now controlling each other and other governments are controlling us because people are so susceptible to anything. Because few people are willing to say source. It's just that simple. Say source, and then ask yourself a question. Do you believe the government? Which government do you believe? Do you believe Governor Pritzker? Do you believe the DHS? Do you believe Reddit? Do you believe the mass media? Do you believe Cassandra Murray, who lived here for over a decade and knows the state of things? Do you believe all the other people who are willing to say the same thing, that this place was violent, was it criminalized? Like, all of this stuff was happening for over a decade. Even before the Venezuelans. Do you believe that there's no such thing as international crime, no such thing as crime syndicates, no such thing as druggies, as prostitutes? It doesn't exist. It's all made up. It's fictional. Well, of course it's not. So then, is it somewhere over here? Is it somewhere over here? Is it somewhere in between? I think it's probably somewhere in between. I think it's probably not full red or full blue. It's probably a bit of gray. Which most things are. Almost everything is a bit of gray. Don't listen to either of them entirely, especially people who probably are Russian bots. And whether they're bots or not, there's always going to be conflict between the people pushing sympathy and the government, because the bleeding hearts are always going to be easily manipulated, and they will be easily manipulated by the people who have something to gain. Not always bots or PSYOP agents. There could be plenty of other people who have something to gain. Everyone who posts some sort of F-Nazis or whatever, at the end of the day, they're doing it just so they can pat themselves on the back and feel like a hero. They're not necessarily trying to take advantage of anyone by doing that, but they're still doing something for their own personal gain and not really for anyone else. Now, here in this thread, we see Operation Midway Blitz via Bovino directing suppression of peaceful demonstrators. Peaceful demonstrators. This is not a single day thing. I mean, you can see the date there on the recording, but Midway Blitz, as far as I'm aware, kept going more than one day. So we don't get to see these peaceful demonstrators. All we get to see is this 40-second clip where he says some things that are sort of ambiguous and can be construed in a negative light. They're probably not like overly positive either, but it is a military-ish organization, a government agency looking for bad actors basically. So you wouldn't expect him to be out there with a really happy attitude and a smile on his face, would you?
And then maybe we give them a limit line too, like if we get the arresting out there, like don't cross that intersection.
And then we get somebody even in a vehicle, somebody steps across it, they get it.
Yep.
It's all about arresting people.
Yeah.
I think if we push this whole fucking block back, that ought to teach them a lesson, and if it doesn't, we arrest.
Right. All right, yeah. 10-minute drink and
What's that?
They're going to use a truck, get on the PA system, announce it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right? Make sure we announce it. Hey, you guys need to clear out. Law enforcement.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, this is as per me. I've declared this a safety hazard to the personnel and the facility. I'm making the on-the-ground decision now, so if you got to write a report, it's on me.
That's where it ends. You don't get to see any kind of protest happening, presumably on the other side of the fence or something. Oh, I don't know what the 10-minute drink line was about or the safety hazard at the end, but otherwise, the only line that seems like it could even be construed like super negatively to any degree would be the line about it's all about arrests. But of course, that's what it's going to be about. Like if someone is causing a problem, you're going to have to arrest them. If you don't arrest them, then no one else is going to worry about it. They're going to start doing it too. Arresting is the punishment. Without the punishment, they're not going to be afraid, and they're just going to ramp up everything they do. And what are they going to ramp up? Well, look at the top comment here. Save this for his trial. Okay, right? Look at the second thing. Save it for the trial of the vigilante who eventually does what the justice system won't. They're inciting murder right there. And they're calling it justice. Now, personally, I think that this was all intentionally recorded and deliberately uploaded to the internet, specifically so people like this would lose their minds. And they're saying exactly what you would expect them to say. And I do love that there's so many people as well who legitimately have mistaken this comment about being small. A small person is supposed to be small of character. But thanks to AOC, the left wing legitimately thinks it means your actual stature. Now, I followed this link here to this thread. Such a tiny little Nazi. He's always been that short little buck-toothed nerd that nobody talked to and got bullied every single day of his life. Little man complex right here. Again, classic short man shit. God damn, that guy is even shorter than Stephen Miller. Do you think these are bots or not? I don't know. They may well be, but the point is, all it took was one comment by AOC, and now all of these Redditors are prejudiced against people based off of their appearance. They think they have the right to do anything they want to anyone they want for any reason they want by simply, well, I was going to say by simply calling them a Nazi, but they'll just call you short. They'll call you white. They'll call you a male. That's all it takes for them. Such a small little man, such phallic issues. Holy hell. How are these not bots? How small is this guy anyway? I mean, they have to be bots, right? They have to be bots. But how many of these people realize that? How many people here realize that they're bots? No, they'll just agree with it. It's always a shorty that gets drunk with power. How many times did they shove him in the locker at school? How many short comments about this one guy? How many prejudiced people attacking his physical attributes that he has no control over in this one thread? And that proves that the Democrats are good people, right? These rock paper scissors thing is the meat and potatoes of this thread. They're claiming that paper beats rock is some sort of white supremacist dog whistle, where Sieg Heiling is supposed to look like your hand does the when playing a paper, and then rock is the Black Lives Matter fist. Horrible that he's signaling this so blatantly. Well, here it is. You can see him hold his hand up. It's not really a Nazi salute in any way. His thumb is extended. I mean, it doesn't look anything like a Nazi salute. And then he does that. And then camera pans over. Camera pans back. And they do a quick rock, paper, scissors. And that's that. And that's a Nazi thing, apparently, according to them. Here's the thing. Do you believe them? Do you believe anything they're saying? I'm going to let you in a little secret here. Paper does, the symbol for paper and paper rock scissors, it does sort of look like a Nazi salute, because the Nazi salute's not very complicated. It also looks like a hand wave, because hand waving isn't very complicated. And the Black Lives Matter fist, the fist of the people, well, black people didn't invent that. Black Lives Matter didn't invent that. Do you believe this? I don't. Maybe it's true, but I don't. Am I defending Bovino? Not at all. Am I defending ICE? Not really. I'm mostly just trying to state that Redditors, the left wing, the extreme left, all of these people are either bots or psychopaths. I am being force-fed political extremisms to the point that I've burst. I am so sick of hearing people ask accusations instead of ask questions. It's not how do you feel about this situation with context. It's a setup. to get people to say something that you can spin in your favor, to demonize them, to twist and warp. You don't want to ask questions. You just want the other side to admit they're evil, or at least give you enough ammunition to paint them as evil. How are Democrats really going to look at this South Shore raid and say that it's wrong because think of the children? Well, every good turn deserves another. Democrats, please allow me to ask you an accusation in kind. When you are disseminating lies about, parading, marching, and rioting for, even making it the go-to argument of your presidential platform to afford women complete legal immunity to kill and flush their children down the toilet for any or no reason whatsoever, were you thinking about protecting the children? Thanks for watching.
Take care now. Bye-bye then.